The story of St Elizabeth of Portugal.
Subscribe to our channel to receive more content like this.
Let me tell you the story of a woman who wore a crown, but used it not to rule with power, but with peace, patience, and prayer. Her name was Elizabeth of Portugal, and though she was born into royalty, it was her faith, not her title, that made her truly great. Elizabeth was born in the year 1271 in the Kingdom of Aragon, what we now call Spain. She was born into a noble family, the daughter of a king, and from the very start, she was different. While most children of royalty were taught to enjoy luxury and pride, Elizabeth learned something else. From a young age, she showed deep kindness. She prayed constantly, fasted regularly, and gave to the poor from her own share of riches. People noticed, even as a child, she had a heart for God. When she was only 12 years old, she was married off to King Denis of Portugal, a political alliance, as most royal marriages were. Now, King Denis was not the kindest man. He was clever, hardworking, and a strong ruler, yes, but he was also proud, hot-tempered, and unfaithful. Imagine being a teenage girl in a foreign land, with a husband who barely noticed your gentle spirit. Most would have broken under that pressure, but not Elizabeth. Instead of bitterness, she chose compassion. Instead of lashing out, she lived with quiet dignity. She used her influence at court not for gossip or gain, but to feed the poor, visit the sick, and defend the helpless. She would even bake bread with her own hands and walk barefoot through the streets, giving food to beggars. One of the most famous stories about her is known as the Miracle of the Roses. One day, Elizabeth was secretly carrying bread in her cloak, going to feed the hungry, as she often did. King Denis stopped her. He was suspicious of her constant generosity. "What are you hiding?" he asked. "Roses," she replied softly. He demanded she open her cloak, and when she did, miraculously, the bread had turned into roses. Was it a miracle? Maybe. Or maybe it was heaven's way of saying, this woman's kindness is sacred. But Elizabeth wasn't just about charity. She was also a peacemaker. Her greatest gift was calming conflicts, especially in her own family. You see, her husband, King Denis, had many children outside their marriage, and this caused tension with their own son, Prince Afonso. As Afonso grew up, he became jealous and angry, convinced that his father would give power to one of his illegitimate sons. Eventually, things got so bad that civil war nearly broke out. A son prepared to fight his own father. A kingdom on the edge of chaos. But Elizabeth stepped in. She rode out between their armies on horseback, spoke with them one by one, and begged them to reconcile. Through tears and prayer, she ended the war before it began. Time and again, Elizabeth risked everything to keep peace. She didn't scream. She didn't command. She loved, and that changed hearts. After King Denis died in 1325, Elizabeth could have lived out her days in comfort, but she chose something else. She gave away her wealth. She joined the Third Order of St. Francis and lived a life of quiet prayer and service. Yet, even in her later years, her mission as a peacemaker continued. In 1336, war once again threatened her family, this time between her son, now King Afonso, and her son-in-law, the King of Castile. Despite her old age and failing health, Elizabeth got back on her horse, traveled across the scorching plains of Spain, and once again brought peace between kings. But the journey was too much. Exhausted and ill, Elizabeth collapsed soon after. She died on July 4th, 1336, surrounded by nuns, whispering prayers. She was later declared a saint, not just for her miracles, but for the miracle of how she lived. So what can we learn from Queen Elizabeth? That peace doesn't always come with power. Sometimes it comes from patience. That true strength isn't in a sword, but in the courage to forgive, and that even in a world full of pride and conflict, one person's quiet goodness can heal a nation. She was a queen, yes, but even more than that, she was a servant of love. This is the story of St. Elizabeth of Portugal.